Hi folks, welcome to the next episode of Nipissing Islander, and my name's Bernie, and I hope I can entertain you today. And a couple interesting things. I'm panning for gold here on the island. I haven't done it before. I'm kind of curious, so I think you'll find this episode interesting too. And then I'm gonna take Maisie for a boat ride, so come along and enjoy the ride. And I hope I can earn your subscription today, and share it with your friends and like it too, so I can continue to do YouTube videos and entertain folks like yourselves for hopefully years to come. Thank you. Hi folks, welcome back to the island. There's been a few changes since last video that I made, and today we're going to go and dig up some gravel, see if we can find some gold. So stay tuned and see if we can find some. We're going to need a bucket, put some sand in. We'll also have to find a small shovel. Looks like an appropriate bucket. What do you think, Maisie? Let's go find a shovel. Oh yeah, that one looks perfect. I think, Maisie, will that do the trick? I think so. Fortunately, we don't have to go too far. Just a stroll up to the back part of the property. Hope the mosquitoes aren't too bad. We'll find out shortly here. I'm walking through some poison ivy, but fortunately I'm not allergic. As you can see, the soil is very sandy right here, and that sand was deposited by the glaciers from long ago. And as we get further up here, see more and more rock. I'm thinking about digging down in there and seeing what's underneath. Hopefully some gold has been deposited. Now on this side there's a rock facing that drops off and it carries on all the way up there. So there's a high rock just up here, and then it drops off like almost like a cliff. But anyway, I'm gonna go up on top of the rock and show you just what I mean. Bit of a climb up here, not too bad. Oh, this is all Canadian shield here. And there's not much for soil up on top here as it gets eroded. Pretty tough stuff, this Canadian shield. Some of the oldest rock on Earth. Oh, there's Lake Nipissing. The view is to the north. Now, this is not my property over here, but neighbors won't mind. Anyway, there's a big flat surface that the glaciers scraped off as they came down from the north. And those glaciers, they were actually like sandpaper. So as the glaciers built up thicker and thicker and thicker, course, the glaciers, they slowly flow, and they kept coming this way. And then the dirt and everything that they brought with them was just like a big sheet of sandpaper underneath the glaciers. So as it came along this way, it scraped this rock. Now the Canadian Shield is very solid and resilient, but the glaciers are relentless, and the over time it did scrape away. And I don't know whether you can see, maybe I can zoom in here. All these rock surfaces on most of the islands, they're the same way. They're all sloped from where the glacier smoothed them out. But yet on the other side of them, where the glacier went over the top and dropped off, it didn't take that, because this top surface prevented that from happening. So on the other side, there's deposits from the glaciers. Right in there, there's some huge boulders that were also scraped up and left there. Oh, there's no gold to speak of around here. It's the only thing that I'm curious about is, did the glaciers, as they moved south, did they pull some of that gold that's from the north of us, Kirkland Lake, Matheson, Timmins, up in that area? I don't know. If there's gold, it certainly wouldn't be much here, but it's just going to be a fun experience. Just hang tight and we'll see what we find. It's been pretty dry here. You can see the sumac leaves are wilted, and I'm afraid they're going to get even more wilted because there's no rain to speak of in the future. We'll pick a spot where it's close to the edge of that shelf. Might have a few rocks to dig through before we get to any kind of soil. Years ago, my grandfather was digging around the cottage when he built it, and he found a trader's axe. I think my aunt has it now. That was a pretty cool find. Yeah, there's mosquitoes here. Anyway, I'm gonna keep digging and see if I can put some in my bucket. I need a pickaxe instead of a shovel. It's almost impossible to dig through. I brought my gold pan up here. I don't need it up here. It's just one more thing to carry. So anyway, I only got a little bit in the bucket, but there's enough to maybe pan out a couple of handfuls. But I gotta find a different spot to dig that little bit impossible. My shovel, there's a bit of a bump right here. Oh, maybe I'll take a couple scoops from there too. It was a lot easier digging. We'll go and see what we got. Clear my trail here pretty soon. Flies and mosquitoes, they found me. I'll have to get out of the bush. Fortunately, I got, oh, son of a gun. It was a horsefly. Nailed me too. Defend yourself against those bugs when you got a handful. Might join you in a minute, Maisie. Getting warm. Put a little bit of this in the pan. Hope we find a big nugget. Where I can put this where you can see what I'm doing. I don't want my camera to fall in the lake either. That would not be good. That lake water is almost like bath water. I'll soak her down. Start at it. A little bit of different rock. Scraped down from probably up north. Hard to say how far from. There's also another mining community north of here, and it's called a little town called Cobalt. And it had lots of silver around I think it was around 1910 or 11 that they discovered silver there. and set off quite a boom. And he also, as the name of the town suggests, cobalt. So I don't think there's anything going on there mining-wise anymore, but it once was a very thriving community back then. I'm not a historian, I'm just going by what I've learned through the years. And a nice piece of quartz. And there is some quartz intrusions in the area along where they, I guess it was magma that come up through in between the granite. There are some quartz veins, and I've looked at those quartz veins fairly closely, and there is some mica around it, but I've never found any gold. Anyway, let's give this and get rid of some of that stuff. Well, this is the only second time I've ever panned, so from what I see, you give it a little shake and you get any of the heavies to settle to the bottom, and the later stuff should show itself to the top. I don't imagine we're gonna find any gold here, but I've often been curious whether there might be traces of it. There's lots of glacial deposits around the area. Oh, big piles of sand and gravel. There's also what they call like a black sand, and it's oftentimes that black sand is metallic based, iron, and there is iron in the rock around here. They also on some nearby islands, the Manitou Islands over towards North Bay, it's an old volcanic pipe, and they mined it years ago. I think it was uranium that they were looking for. And there's also another little island not too far away, about 4 or 5 miles away from me here. They called it Mine Island. And I've never really gone up to explore it to see, if there's a shaft. I've heard some people say that there is actually a shaft there. And I think they were after iron there too. The Manitou Islands, they were mined for quite a while, and they would take the tailings in the wintertime, and they would take the trucks with the tailings, and then they dump it in the lake. And there's a place where guys fish off that pile of tailings now. Not even seeing any black sand to speak of here. Oh, where this come from, it wasn't deep enough. But I'm not giving up hope. There's a very clear piece of quartz. A little bit of black sand there. Seeing very, 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 very tiny specks there. And amongst that black sand. But I don't think that's what I'm looking for. But it did stay up in there. I just have to try again. More sand for the beach. Well, it's too hot to continue. I'm gonna go and sit in the shade for a little while, cool off, and decide what my next step's going to be. to remind myself I'm retired, that I don't have to do anything. So I think that might be what I'm going to do for a little while. I got my laundry out. I dug a little bit of sand, pan for some gold. Yeah, it's almost too hot for a coffee, but I feel like having a coffee. I think that's what I'm going to do. Fired up the little Evinrude, take it for a rip, get the cobwebs off it. Maisie and I are going to go for a little ride. Not too sure where we're going to go yet, but we'll just putter around. Take in the sights around the area. Haven't done this yet this year, so about time. Command Island. There was a cottage on it years ago and it's all caved in now. I did get a tour of it before it totally collapsed with the owner of the island at the time. Beautiful, beautiful island. And over on my right is Jessup's Island. And it's a fairly large island and there's lots of cottages around the edges of it. Another beautiful island. Well, that's the first I've noticed that the Command Island is for sale. How about that? That little island once belonged to my aunt. And she had a son, John, who was very good friends with. Spent many good memories there. Over there is where the South River enters the lake. And that's all mainland. And you follow that down, it'll lead you right to the mouth of the French River, the exit point of the waterway of the lake. Now that shoreline is very exposed to north and northwest winds, and it gets very rough at times down that way, and it makes those cottages sometimes difficult to access. Well, this is the southwest side of Jessup Island, and I'll go around it. On second thought, I won't. It's a little choppy. Giesler boat, and that is the Giesler driving it too, I think. Have to be very careful when you're driving around in the South Bay. Lots of unmarked rocks. There are some channels marked, yes, but not all of the rocks are marked, so if you're out and about on the South Bay, gotta be careful. beautiful day to do this. It's a little choppy, but oh well. Every sunset is spectacular out here. Whether it's just rather plain one like tonight, or when the sky is brilliant red, they all are beautiful. Peace and quiet. Right, Maisie? You like it too? You're watching.